Okay, what colors do we want? I think I want lemon yellow. So that's a little umber maybe. Yellow ochre maybe. White. We're going to start with that. Olive green, that's pretty. We'll just chuck that on the side though. I don't know if we'll need it or not. So I'm going to start working on the darks probably first. We'll use, yes. So I'll put lemon yellow here there. I'm just going to put a tiny amount out. I don't know how much I'm going to use. I probably could put more than that out. A little bit of white. Yellow ochre. And we will do we want raw umber or raw burnt sienna? Put a bit of both out and see. I'm leaving space right here if I want to put the olive green out. Not putting it out right now. Okay, let's get into it. Take a brush here. No, I want a smaller brush than that I've picked here. Oh, this one's a little wobbly on the tip, which isn't ideal for me. No, because you can't control it as well. I need to fix that somehow. How's this one? Oh, that's solid. Okay, this one's a 0 round. That should be good. We'll put some of this on, get a bit of oil. This is linseed oil, and I have it in my little spray bowl. This one's here is water with a spray, and this is water just with a dropper. Okay, we're going to start with some yellow ochre. Mix that in first. I'm going to compare the color on here a little bit and see. Oh, that's, yeah, even just straight yellow ochre is honestly probably what I'm just going to start with. It's good. Okay. So I've done a little bit in this one, but you can see it was like very oily and it like ran through a lot. So I'm going to start by putting some darks in. I have to go along and do all of these flowers, so it's going to take some time. Hello and welcome back. My name's Rebekah Victoria, and I'm so glad that you're here today. Today we're working on this little fun number, this beautiful field of yellow flowers, yellow daisies. This isn't, I didn't use any reference piece for, I didn't use a reference photo, sorry, for this piece. This one just really came out of a meditation that I did, where it was about trying to find a beautiful, like a happy place, essentially, finding the place you feel most like yourself, the place you feel most comfortable. So that's where this one really took shape. I'm going to set a 30-minute timer for my time blocking today. My son is napping. Wait a second. My son is napping, so I don't want to work for too long. I'm not going to work any more than 30 minutes. Once it goes off, we're done, brushes up. Like a competition. This is probably going to look a bit random at this point because I'm going to start with this mid-tone here, and then I usually work dark to light, but today we're going to start with the mid-tone. I'm not overly sure why I'm doing that. It's just how I feel. So I'm working with the yellow ochre, just straight 180 out of the tube, and it is such a beautiful rich one. I'm using the Winsor & Newton artesian paints. Since I started this painting, I've started using a different brand. I did have some of the Winsor & Newton with this one, but I bought the sample package so that I could sample a lot more colors at the same time without buying the big tube of colors that I wouldn't necessarily use. And I found this really amazing because it's also given me access to colors that I wouldn't necessarily have purchased on my own regardless. Like, they probably wouldn't have been my top choice if I were picking. So it's worked out really amazingly for me. I wasn't really sure how it was going to go. I have had this brand before and I knew that I liked it, so that was already really helpful. But I only had a few colors. I had like burnt sienna, raw umber, yellow ochre, and then I had magenta and another pinky one. I can't remember which one it was. What was it? See, it's like a rose, magenta rose maybe? Permanent rose. So I already knew that I liked the way that these paints handle, and I liked the way that they were, the body that they had. I find them quite thick, and I tend to like watered down, kind of more like what's the word? Glaze, more like glazy type layers, so they're a bit see-through often, and sometimes I like to have them like really heavily with the medium so they kind of run and have the drips. I love that effect, and I love when I can get that effect in my oil paintings, because I don't think it's always done in oil paintings, and I love how it looks. It's done very easily in acrylics. I don't know that every artist would do it in oils, but when you're using traditional oils and you have the medium, the opposite medium, or the same medium that you would use would be the turpentine, and that's not like the healthiest medium to use. So with using the water mixables, it's amazing because they can do that effect and only be exposed to water. And I love just the fact that I know I'm feeling way safer, and it's a lot safer for my family. So that was a really huge kind of wake up, like pivotal moment for me when I was like, why am I using these chemicals? And I actually still had turpentine in my basement. I didn't even realize, and it's like so highly flammable, so I finally got that out of here. I don't want that around with the kids around it. It's so toxic. So I'm really happy that I've made this switch. I have so many oil paints, so you never know, I might go back one day. It's not like I'm throwing out my old tubes, but I can also use them. I believe you can like use them on top, but I guess I would have to do a bit of research into that. You probably don't want to put the water mixables on top of the regular oils, but I'm not really sure. That's purely a guess. And the reason that I'm guessing that is because you don't put acrylics on top of oils, because it's just a big no-no. It's the water doesn't go on the oil. So that's just a rule that you always follow. I don't actually know exactly why. I would have to look it up and actually find the real reason why. That's what I was always told. So I would imagine that you wouldn't put this water-based medium on top of the oil, but that is purely a guess based off the information that I have, but I should find out and let you know. I put a few colors out, but I probably only needed to put this one out. I didn't know what I was going to be working with yet. I definitely didn't need to buy it, but I have my Star Wet palette now so that I can just put the lid on and they won't go bad. And hopefully I can get a couple sessions in this week, just a couple shorter ones, and continue using them. I got this palette for Christmas and I'm so delighted with it. I got a glass insert for it too, which I'm very happy with. I like the way it works. I got a mid-tone gray because I like working on the medium gray color. I find it much easier to mix my colors on there and figure out the hues I need, and the gray also makes the colors really pop, so you can really see what color you're working with well, and that makes me really happy. Yeah, I love yellow. Yellow is my favorite color, so I'm so delighted with how this little piece is taking shape. I haven't worked on it in a while because I was working on a painting of the proteas, which was the big pink Australian flowers, which turned out beautiful. I'm obsessed, and I don't know how I'm going to put it up for sale, but I will. I'm going to be working on my website very soon and finally get some of this work up for sale. I used to have a website, but I wasn't happy with it, so I shut it down. And so I've never really had a lot of luck with trying to build my own websites, because I guess I'm just such a perfectionist that I have a hard time getting them just so. But I'm going to work on a new one, and I'm going to make sure that I'm not too caught up in the details and I get the stuff out there as soon as possible, because I need some sales. I got too much work sitting in my studio right now, but I do love having them all. I have them all like hanging on my wall, the new stuff. I like to hang them up so that I can look at them and see if I want to change anything. I find it a really good way to evaluate how it is, and to also like see where the series might be going or where the artwork might be going. I'm not always in this space, so it's not that I'm always around them, that's for sure. I'm only really in here when I'm doing art, so it gives me access to them without it being like overpowering having left my studio space. I'm really liking the depth that this is creating. It was feeling way too flat before, and I was never really happy with it. So I'm loving how much better this is already looking. So I know once I get the other colors in here, it'll feel even better again. Sometimes it's just the little things that make all the difference, isn't it? And that's such a beautiful thing about art and life. Sometimes it doesn't take much. Like if you're painting a portrait and you're trying to get the likeness right, sometimes it's just like one tiny thing that's off. Say the line of the jaw or the placement of one of the eyes, and then you change it and you're like, okay, that's clicked into place now, and it's like makes so much more sense. It's just the little thing that you had to change that made all the difference. Whew, my back is already starting to burn. I'm sitting on the floor today. I just felt like sitting on the floor rather than in the chair, but my body's not really used to sitting this way, so it's kind of burning. I love my chair that I have in my studio. It's the pink, I don't even know what the word is. Velvety type chair, I guess. It's so cute. I love it so much. It's so comfy. But it's not like always the best to paint in, I didn't think, but now I'm that's why I was like, I'm gonna sit on the floor today, but now I'm starting to think maybe it is okay. So it's more comfortable in it than on the floor. Sometimes I paint on the floor, but often I like to sit in a chair. I was thinking about getting a new chair, but I think I'll stick with this one. I like her. She's pretty and she matches my studio. My studio was kind of built, the colors in here were kind of built around that chair, to be honest. Like, not really like your typical pink girly, but I've turned into one apparently. Like this is pink, that's pink, everything's kind of got this like dusty pink tone, and I actually love it so much, and it's all because of that beautiful chair that I picked off the side of the road, and I love it. Love, love, love it. She is my queen. This mustardy yellow ochre is one of my favorite colors. It's so beautiful. I mean, I love all yellow. I think I should do a sunflower painting soon, because sunflowers are my favorite flowers. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I should do a painting of some sunflowers soon. I was going to try do some Australian flowers, and then in the summertime in Canada here, I want to try and find some native Canadian flowers to paint. I want to see if I can find them in the wild so that I can photograph them, because I like to paint for my own images, firstly for copyright purposes, but if I am going to paint from an image, I'd rather it be from a vision that I saw. I'd rather it be from me. So I just think artwork's such a personal thing that it's hard to use other people's images. Maybe a family member or someone you know, but images off the internet, it's really hard to use images from some person you don't know, from some place you don't know in the world. It's just so impersonal, and that's not really how art is for me. I don't think that makes sense for my art practice. It feels too disjointed, and it doesn't it doesn't feel cohesive. So I would much prefer to take my own images if I could, or experience it. Go to a scene, experience how it feels in person, take some images, and then maybe if I can work from my memory. It's so hard to work from memory though. But I mean, it is similar to working from imagination. But your memory really, it doesn't always get too many elements right. It sometimes makes things up, or it deletes a lot of things, and it doesn't have a very good chance to get a good capture or get a good picture of everything. It's so overwhelmed and bombarded by information that your mind can only take in so much, and it can only pick on the things that it deems important for from your subconscious, but it's missing so much information. And I mean, a photograph doesn't get everything either, that's for sure. It misses a ton of information, but it does capture the basic things, which your mind may erase and not deem as necessary to retain. So I like to try and use a mixture of both if I'm doing like a field in nature or like a landscape, but have the backup of having a photo. If I'm trying to use it from my mind, imagination, it is nice to have that reference image, but it can become sort of a crutch, I guess. I found that in the last painting that I did, the Banksia flowers, it was sort of becoming a bit of a crutch towards the end. So the last session where I was refining everything and pulling all the details together, I purposefully didn't. I went and got my iPad with the image that I'd created on Photoshop, and I purposely ended up not using the image whatsoever and just painting, and it turned out so beautiful. Like, I didn't need it whatsoever, and I think it may have become more overworked if I had used it. So I'm so delighted that I didn't. I'm so glad that I trusted my intuition and just left it on the side and didn't bring it into that space. Whoops. Because I think it's so much better for it. Just gonna put a few extra on here. Didn't feel like enough over this side. This little painting's turning out so cute and darling. It's such a unique little size that I love that like elongated landscape for these. It's so beautiful. Definitely I'm gonna have to do a few more in this in the size. I just adding a little bit of water. I've added lots of, I don't know if I wanted to do that. I've been adding oil. Let's see. Yeah, no, I don't want the water in there. I'm gonna grab a paper towel for a sec. The water's making it like a slightly lighter color, and then when it dries, like all the water evaporates, obviously. But it just doesn't dry quite the same to me, and I've used oil for the rest of them, so I'm gonna use oil for this one too. I'm gonna just need a bit more of the yellow ochre on my palette here. Grab a fresh little spot. And we'll go back to oil. Okie dokie. Make sure I don't get paint all over myself. Got some other little canvases sitting above me here that are literally ready for oil. They've been stretched. They've been background painted so far. They have had their what's it called, gesso applied on top. I use a layer of, so I stretch the cotton onto the stretcher bars myself because I've been enjoying using just like calico cotton, and I love the way that the acrylics work on it. Well, the acrylics like absorb and don't behave as they would on a canvas. I like that lack of control that I have with the acrylics as opposed to on the canvas, because the canvases usually you buy them pre-gessoed, right? Unless I were to stretch just basic, like proper canvas material and then not have it gessoed. But I'm really thoroughly enjoying using just the calico. I just had some in my studio, so I was like, I'm gonna try it. And it's just a random hunch I wanted to do, and I just love the way that these acrylics melt into each other, and I use the spray bottle and it helps me immensely, and it's just creating this beautiful, whimsical, like dreamy background that I feel like it could really be so many different things. And so I do a layer of I do maybe even multiple layers of the acrylic on the background, just to get as many as it takes to get where I want it, and then I let it dry because it's usually incredibly wet with the spray bottle. It's soaked right through. And then sometimes if it's not looking taut, I will spray it on the back to make sure it's nice and tight and really well stretched, because sometimes when you add water it like stretches out a bit. And then I have a Liquitex clear gesso. I don't find it to be completely transparent. When you paint it on, it's like white, and then it leaves this like film. And at first I was really quite upset, but now I've grown to love it. I think it gives this like really beautiful dreamy haze. So I'm just embracing it now, and I like it. It's just makes the colors a bit more muted and a little bit more dull. And then I can start working in the water mixable oils and see where I go from there. And the process has really been remarkable so far. Really been loving switching up the way I'm painting. I think it's really brought a new energy to the paintings, and I used to do a lot of portraits. There was quite a long phase there where I was just doing pencil portraits and commissions and selling those, and I love doing that. I just needed a little break from it. I like to do the pencil portraits for commissions because they're so easy to like get into, rather than painting oils. For oils, it's just like, it seems like such a more of a mental game to get into the studio, because it just seems like such a big deal. Getting the oils out, getting all the medium out, getting all set up, and then working with stuff that's flammable. Like, it just felt like a much bigger deal. So I worked when my first daughter was really young, and then I had my second kiddo. And during my pregnancy, I just worked in pencils, and I didn't really paint much at all. And that just really worked for me. But I was really missing painting. So that's when I went into the water mixable oils, and I started experimenting a lot with acrylics even, and just anything I could really get my hands on and get myself into the painting zone and into the mindset. I think that it has helped me immensely with a lot of other things outside of the studio. But I do get like very focused, and I forget to do other things when I'm in this painting kind of era of my life, because I've been in this before when I was in university, and everything else just doesn't matter and kind of falls to the wayside. Obviously, I can't do that now that I have a family, so I have to put parameters on myself to keep myself in check, like the time blocking strategies I've been using, where I set timers and I make sure that I eat and I make sure that I rest, because I have to rest and I have to eat. Those are the things that keep me upright and being a productive member of this family. And then obviously I spend time with my kids and I shut everything off. I do need to get better at shutting things off, but I'm working on it. I'm going to take a little video here. Apparently it didn't flash the record. Okay, so we're done with that color. Next one I was thinking about, how long have we got left? We've got 7 minutes, so we can probably do a little bit. I'm going to mix, I've got this yellow ochre still, this one too. Just mix them in together. Grab a palette knife out, but I'm going literally right there, but that's okay, this is working. Okay, and I'm going to throw in a bit of the burnt sienna. See where we're at. I'm going to throw in a little bit of the lemon, just because I think that will really help harmonize the, because when I do the lights I'm going to be using lemon and white and probably a little bit of the yellow ochre. So I want a little bit of the lemon in some of these other colors. There's some oil in there. Probably I'm using too much oil, but I don't want to stop. Because I'm right-handed, it's so much easier to start this side to this side, but now it's all wet, so we don't need too many of the darks in, we just need some. And we want to make sure it looks okay. Put some of this in, so we've got our dark color. Really don't want to like overdo it, and I want to make sure that you can see some of the background color through these flowers. So kind of a delicate dance with this one, like that one I don't love, but I'm going to also come on to at the end and fix the centers again, because I want them to really sit on top. I don't want the petals to be coming out of the centers, I want the centers to be on top. So we'll come back right at the end with a really dark, beautiful, rich color and sit that on top. Is my plan. That's a lot on my brush. I think I'm going to really love this little painting once I've got more depth to it. I mean, I loved it before, but I just felt like it needed more. I've had it on my wall for months now, I guess, really. And it just needed a touch more. So just following my instincts here and doing what feels right to me. All you can really do. Not listen to other people, not fall into the trap of measuring yourself against everyone else and consumerism culture of fast artwork that isn't good, doesn't have time, care, love, patience, wouldn't have left it sitting on the wall for months until it percolated into its brilliance. This is love. This is art. Giving your artwork the space to breathe and become its own entity on its own, rather than controlling where it's going, allowing it to tell you what it needs, and giving it the space to do so. That's why I love to have my paintings on my walls in my studio. Like I was saying earlier, it's giving the paintings their own life, their own chance to breathe and tell you what they need. And right now it feels like these flowers are getting really dark, but I know that when I come back in with the beautiful, I'll probably do another mid-tone, like a light mid-tone, and then a highlight next time on these. And I think that will really, so there'll be 2 mid-tones, a dark and a light, and that'll really give them some good punch. And then I'll do the centers. I'll probably have to do 2 more sittings with this. I'll do, well, maybe 3. I'll finish these darks, let that dry, put on the lights, let that dry, and then do the centers. Because if I don't let them dry in between, I won't be able to get them to sit where I want them to. Exactly, because there'll just be too much paint on and they'll slide right off. They won't stick. That's where we're at. I'm going to try to get this brown done today. That's my goal. It might take me a smidge over my time block, and I said I wasn't going to do that, but sometimes when you have the right color mixed up, you just have to get it all done because you want it to be cohesive and be the right mixture. There's my alarm. Let's see how much longer this takes me. I'm going to mix up. I need more of it. I'll finish this first and then running out of paint. I was going to mix some up in a different spot on the palette, but I think I'll use up what I got and then try to emulate the exact same color if I can. I think it's looking good though. I'm happy with it so far. Let me know what you think. Some of these, because the yellow ochre is so wet, it's just not really sticking to it super well, but I kind of like the lack of control that gives me in a way, because it allows it to be a little bit imperfect and messy and again breathing a life of its own, where I'm not controlling it too much. And that's beautiful. Perfect the way it is. See how it's kind of like muddling into each other there. See if it does it anywhere else. It's not as thick on some of these flowers here. See it there a bit. Where it's not like a thick stroke, but once you add more paint to the brush, it just sits a little better. But I kind of like those beautiful mixed brushes. I probably put a bit too much oil in the mixture too, which makes it a little bit more glazy than I probably intended it to be. A little bit more see-through and transparent. Just depends how much is on your brush too. See, like, when it's starting to get to that point where it's, see, like that, there's not enough paint on your brush, so you can't do too much without reloading. You can't expect too much, and then as soon as you reload, it's quite a bit thicker and more opaque. A few more loads with this paint, and then I'm going to have to mix it up again. probably gotten a bit lighter just from picking up a bit of the yellow ochre off the canvas already. Got these flowers here to finish. These flowers here I'll finish up, and then I'll do this side quick, and then we'll call it a day. I only ended up using one brush, so I only have one brush to wash. It'll be a pretty quick cleanup for me. Just pick everything up and put it away, and put my lid on my palette, and hopefully paint a little bit tomorrow. Again, if I can. We're doing renovations on our basement, so I don't overly have control over the noise and everything. So we'll see. If too much going on, I'm going to have to go find refuge somewhere else. My in-laws. Okay. There's more of the bent sienna. Quite red. And let's throw some oil. I think I need to put more oil on this. It's not really coming out very well. Okay. Okay. That's okay to have lots on the brush. I haven't reloaded in a while, but mixed up quite a bit, so I'm thinking it'll last enough. I tend to mix as I go. I don't really pre-mix colors like some artists do when they come into the studio. I tend to like to just let myself go with the flow more with mixing and mix a bit as I go. Not always, I often don't mix enough and have to remix the same color, but I don't mind that whatsoever because I think it gives really good variance in my tones that I'm using and the colors that I'm using, because I think it just allows me to have a bit more control. Let's hope that's in focus. Let's see. A little closer. When I started doing art, I never thought, I was obviously, 6 years old when I had my first lessons. I went to this, create class where they did, a tutorial of what we were doing for the week. They did step by step and showed us what we were doing. We had this binder full of paper and we did different pictures every week. Sometimes it was, landscapes. Sometimes it was buildings. I found those the most challenging. I didn't hate the landscapes. They were quite enjoyable. And sometimes it was cartoon characters, things like that. It was so fun, honestly. I loved it. Sometimes I found it a bit too challenging, with the building ones when we did perspective drawings and stuff. They were a little bit above me, but it was still a lot of fun. And that was my foundation, and I still have a lot of those drawings. My mom has some up in her house. I should put some up in my house maybe. Whoops. Somehow I dropped the paintbrush and didn't get it on myself. I landed on my paper towel, so that's handy. Yeah, I still have some of the drawings and they're actually pretty good, some of them. A lot of I used to draw portraits in my bedroom when I wouldn't sleep, and a lot of those ones are pretty horrendous, but they're fun to look at because they're quite interesting, some of them, the way I would do teeth and things like that. I've done so many portraits in my time. I really should do a video on some of the portraits that I've done, just kind of showcasing them. I have a few hanging on my studio walls. But they take a lot longer to do. I do get a lot out of them. I would like to do one of my son. I did a beautiful one of my daughter that I have hanging in my studio. So I have another canvas that like accompanies it. It was a black canvas, and I want to do one of my son on it. So I want to do that soon, maybe. That would be a beautiful, beautiful painting for me. I would really enjoy that. But I'm also just really enjoying the landscapes, the flowers, the imagination, the safe spaces that it feels like I'm creating within my own studio. And I'm creating all these places that when I'm meditating, they're my safe space to go to, where I can be my truest version of myself, and I can be safe, and I can be happy, and I can be free from society's judgment and hustle culture again, as I said earlier, and comparison culture. I can just do what I want to do, which is kind of what I feel like is happening in my studio. I'm very much a person that is worried about what people think about me. That could literally keep me up at night. But I'm really trying to rewire my brain and get that out of my system, because it is just not helpful for growth or art or anything, or showing up online at a presence whatsoever. But even showing up in person, when you're so consumed with how other people are viewing you, it messes with you, and it's not a healthy way to live. So I'm really trying to work through that and do it a lot less, because it really has been holding me back. It still gets in the way all the time. I know I don't show up fully still, and I know I have a lot of work to do still, but we'll get there, one day at a time. Only clear one belief at a time, one limiting belief at a time. I'm working on it, and you're coming along the ride with me. You probably have some limiting beliefs. Well, you definitely do. Everyone does. You could probably be a bit more introspective on, like I am trying to be as well. Those shadow pieces of our personality that we don't always like, that we sometimes need to shine a light on, and just be a little more aware and a little bit more kind to ourselves, and just try to move through them with grace and elegance and care, and do our due diligence to be the best humans that we can be for society, for our families, for everyone. So this is where I'm going to leave this painting today. Thank you so much for watching along with me. We've got quite a bit more work to do. So we will be back in the studio maybe tomorrow and see where we can go. Yeah, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope you enjoyed me working through this little painting a little bit, and I hope that you enjoyed our little chat. If you want me to chat about anything specific in the next video, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Please, or reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is rebekahs.studio.stories. It's down in the caption, and I would love to chat with you. So come on into my DMs and we will get to know each other. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great day. Today is a beautiful day to go and make some art, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.